if inflation goes back up as a result of all these higher costs, the Bank of Canada will have no choice but to increase the policy rate
Right.
and try to bring inflation back down. So I think certainly possible we would get lower interest rates kind of immediately or in the short term, but then right back up if this continues.
Well, you know where this leads, Sean.
Tell me.
In the 1970s, we haven't seen stagflation in our lifetime, but reading about it recently, because of all these potential changes, right? This is terrifying. Where we're stuck with high interest rates, high prices, and a dog shit economy.
Well, yeah, I mean, and this hasn't happened since the 70s. 72 to 83, I think, was the last point where there was stagflation. So high unemployment, reducing a faltering economy, so GDP going down, and then high inflation. So everything costs more. People are not working as much, and we're not producing as much.
The
It's
scary
like,
thing is that it feels like we're on the cusp of that at the moment.
yeah.
You know, like we're certainly sitting in that in a bucket of it right now. You know, looking to the Bank of Canada to reduce interest rates to help pull us out of it. But I did a bit of research on it. And it's like, well, they don't even have. There's no playbook to get out of stagflation. In fact, the only playbook that I could find was a statement that said the best way to get out of stagflation is to make sure that you don't run into it in the first place. So they don't even have a lever. You know, when we have high inflation, they crank up the interest rates, right, to bring it down.
Mm-hmm.
That's the lever, the only lever it seems that they pull. They don't have a lever for this.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think because so much of it is due to outside influences. In the 70s, it was due to the oil embargo. It was due to the currency not being deregulated, but they stopped trying to manually stabilize it. And then also the baby boom generation, a whole bunch of the population was big, but then also women joined the workforce. So there was just more people in the economy willing to work. And so all those things together is what caused stagflation.
It's not like we have such a different mix on the go right now, specifically with Russian oil that was fairly inexpensive for a very long time, and that's driven our energy prices up, which is so inflationary, right? Because every step, every company needs energy, every service, every product needs energy to create it, so that every step that the product has to move through, it gets marked up to cover the increase in energy costs. So that's a huge one, energy cost. But we're in that sort of situation right now. Now we're forced to reduce our immigration because of our housing crisis. So that's going to contribute to a negative GDP, at least for a little
we didn't
while.
Even talk about that.
Or we predict it to. Is going to hurt the GDP. And prices of goods are still up. It's like, I don't want to be a negative. I'm an optimistic guy, but I'm looking at this thing from a really sort of worrisome perspective.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think we have a lot of things. There's a lot of different crises that are happening right now, and all of those things are kind of the ingredients to stagflation in the economy. Now,
right,
hopefully,
a lot of external sort of sources, as you were saying about the last time that we went through this.
Well, it's like oil prices are not really in our control. The housing, we don't have enough housing. We have too many immigrants, but we're reducing the number of immigrants, which will reduce our GDP. High prices, high tariffs. So I think inflation, it's not as I don't think we have this in the bag as much as we thought we did 6 weeks ago.